Hello, everybody. Welcome to session 3. I am so excited to be here with you guys today. If you are here with us today, please go ahead and in the chat, tell us your grade level and your content area. Let us know where are we from. Okay. And I do this because not only do I want to know this information, but I would love for you guys to hopefully get to know some of the other people that are in these sessions with you. So hopefully you guys can connect with them in the comments, find some people who are similar to you. I know we've got Stacy, she's ready for session 3. Ruby is 11th grade AP US History, Northern California. Yes, AP US History. We've got a lot of AP US History teachers that use Class Companion, but of course we have other grade levels as well. So Stacy reads 10th through 12th grade sciences. She's forensic and environmental in Baltimore, Maryland. Got 9th through 12th history, St. Louis, Missouri. Yes, awesome. As you're coming in, just drop your grade level, your content area. Like I said, I'd love to know this information, but also this is so you guys can find some people who are also using Class Companion and hopefully network, be able to see each other in the Facebook group and, help each other out too, because it's all about finding more people that you know. Jessica is 6th grade from ELA from Utah, not from ELA. We've got 6th through 8th, Oklahoma, Patty Green. K through 2nd math and science in Chicago, Juju. Awesome. Jocelyn is from Istanbul and she teaches ELA and ESL. Awesome. So we got a lot of friends here today. I honestly, I'm kind of surprised we have so many people here today because the other day we actually asked the same question. We're like, when do you start school? And a lot of people already started school this week, which is crazy. But that's why we want to get all this good information in as quickly as we can, give it to you what you guys need. Shannon is also here. She's 9th through 12th English and instructional coaching in Pennsylvania. Awesome. Love some instructional coaching. 2nd grade humanities, Chicago. Lorraine's here with us as well. So again, as you're coming in, we would love for you to share that information. Find somebody who is also teaching your subject area and make friends. Okay. Make friends. We're here to help support each other, right? So today's session, this 3rd session, is all about how we as teachers can meet all of the needs of all the learners in our classrooms. And this is such an important piece for me. I love this kind of stuff because I was a kindergarten teacher, and I realized I didn't know how to meet all of the needs of the learners in my classroom. So I actually went back and got my master's degree in special education, was special education for the rest of forever. But I also got gifted and talented certified as well. So this is an area where I'm all for universal design for learning because I was not aware of some of these strategies and things like that when I first started teaching. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. And so hopefully we'll be able to share with you how Class Companion can help you in your effort to meet all of your learners' needs. For those of you who are not here at our last sessions, my name is Brittany Blackwell. I've been an educator for the past 14 years, and I've taught K through 12, but middle school is a special place in my heart. So for those of you who teach middle school, you are my people. I am also the marketing and community lead here at Class Companion. Avery Pan, who is our CEO and co-founder, is moderating in the chat. So please make sure you say hey to her there. If you were here last week for session 1, she was our moderator then. And so just make sure you say hey to Avery. She's the woman. She's the woman of Class Companion. While we are here in session 3 of this 4-session PD series, you can still catch the 1st and 2nd session on demand. And this full series encompasses 4 separate sessions. Each of them are designed and created to be standalone experiences, except maybe the first one, because it's just, if you're not familiar with our platform, it's just super helpful to dive in a little bit deeper there. But today we're going to be talking about how to reach, again, all of the learners in your classroom using Class Companion as your sidekick. Finally, on Thursday, we will have our final session. We'll be wrapping up with supercharging your back to school prep, where we will be giving you the step-by-step guide to truly incorporating Class Companion into your workflow, how to introduce it to your students, effective routines that can set you up for success at the beginning of the year. So we have some really awesome stuff planned for you, and you won't want to miss out on this last session in our series. So make sure you put that on your calendars if you have not already. And stay tuned to the end of this because we are doing our giveaway, okay? So what is the goal of this session? Today's session is all about how you can successfully implement some of the universal design for learning principles using Class Companion. That way you can meet those diverse student needs. We want you to be able to not only grasp the core concepts of UDL, okay, but also how can you utilize our current features for these diverse learners and help you to truly create a practical plan for UDL strategies in your classroom overall. Just a quick reminder before we really dive into this, in order for you to receive your PD certificate, you do need to attend the session and participate. You're also going to be responsible for completing the session 3 action steps and assignment via a Google Doc, and then submit that into our PD certificate form as well. So you will receive the doc in the form soon, but that you can also find this in your Power Up dashboard after this session as well. So no worries. But those are the requirements for your PD certificate. So let's talk a little bit about how this maybe hour is going to look. First, we're going to talk about what UDL is and how Class Companion helps with this method for teaching. We're also going to explore the options inside of Class Companion together. And then we're going to give you some time to create a plan for utilizing these tools effectively in order to truly implement universal design for learning. So we're going to end with some time additionally for questions as well. And you guys, I love a waterfall. I just love to see all of your little comments, and I love to get you participating. So we did this in sessions 1 and 2, and I see a lot of previous attendees here live with us today. But let me explain this again for those of you who have never heard of this or you didn't join us prior to today's session. We want you to be active here in the chat. So of course, ask questions, share your insights as you wish. But this waterfall method is a way to gather everybody's input simultaneously. So instead of seeing each response come in one at a time, we wait until everybody's ready and then we share all at once. This way we can get an instant snapshot of everybody's thoughts without being influenced by other people's opinions. I'm sure you guys see that in your classrooms. So I'm going to put the question here on the screen. I want you to think about your answer. I want you to type it into the chat, but don't hit send yet, okay? Don't hit send. I'm going to give you time to think. And then on the count of 3, we are going to hit send at the same time. That way we'll see all of your responses cascade like a waterfall, okay? So let me share on the screen for you guys our first question. So on a scale of 1 to 5, how familiar are you with universal design for learning? 5 is very familiar, 3 is somewhat familiar, 1 is not familiar at all, okay? Think about it, don't send, don't hit send yet. I've had really good experiences with this with you guys in my classroom. It was not like that. I had people hitting send left and right. Okay, so think about that. On a scale of 1 to 5, how familiar are you with UDL? 5 is very familiar, 3 is somewhat familiar, and number 1 is not familiar at all. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, hit send. All right, 4, 2, 3, 5, 3, 3, 4, 1, 4, 5, 2. Awesome. Yes, great. Okay. I had a feeling, 2. So I had a feeling that we would probably average or have a median of about 3. So that seems about the way that is. We got some people who are like, I am good with this. And Lorraine, because Lorraine is one of those who's a 5, I see some 4s too. If you guys have some thoughts as we're going through this session, please share your thoughts, your professionalism. You guys have experience with this, and so I want you guys to be able to share your thoughts too. Okay, so feel free to do that in the chat with us today. All right, so universal design for learning, for those of you who are 1s and 2s, it's a very simple framework, okay? It's a teaching framework that aims to create this flexible learning environment that meets all of the needs of your students. And there are 3 main aspects to universal design for learning, and it can go a little bit more in depth. But number 1 is providing multiple means of representation. So this is presenting information and content in different ways. That way you can accommodate various learning styles, different ability levels. These are things like you're using text, using audio, using visuals, using interactive media. That way you have these different ways to present this information. Number 2 is offering multiple means of action and expression. So this is really allowing your students to demonstrate what they know in different ways. This could be written reports, okay, but it doesn't have to be. Oral presentations, projects, multimedia. Think about the different ways that you have students show their knowledge. It's not all with assessments, and it's not all with written reports, right? These are different ways that you can express yourself. Number 3 is engaging students in multiple ways. So engagement. This is using different strategies to motivate them, engage them. This is offering them choices. Using relevant and interesting materials, incorporating their interests, providing opportunities for collaboration, things like that. And these aspects are truly crucial because they help us to create this learning environment that's inclusive. It's accessible to all students, regardless of their individual needs, their learning styles, okay? So I just want you to think about that really quickly. And quick waterfall here, okay? Now that you know what it is, it's a very simple concept. It's basically just ways, the 3 principles that you need in order to meet the needs of the learners in your classroom. So, quick waterfall. Which UDL principle do you find most difficult to implement in your classroom? Is it representation, A, B, multiple means of action and expression, or C, multiple means of engagement? Okay, remember, just think about it, put A, B, or C, but don't hit send. I'd love to see this answer here. So which one of these is harder or more challenging to implement in your classroom? Is it A, representation, B, action and expression, or C, engagement? All right. 3, 2, 1. Hit send. See it. A, B, A. Yeah. Maybe C. Yeah, C. A, C, engagement. Yeah. And there's no right answer. Okay. So I don't want you to feel like there's some right answer. This is just something that I want to see. Like, which one do you find most challenging? C, B. Like, it's going to differ depending on your individual class and maybe even your individual students for the year, right? This could change year by year. Maybe it is representation sometimes. Maybe it is expression sometimes. Maybe it's engagement. But there is no right or wrong answer to this. I'm just curious, like, which one is most difficult for you. So how does this kind of transpire into Class Companion? How do we use a tool like Class Companion to better help us implement UDL? Because it's not our sole way of implementing it. We have to incorporate other methods, other strategies. But once you get thinking about it, how can this support you? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because Class Companion offers a little in each of the 3 aspects. But truthfully, it's mainly a large component of the platform that focuses on multiple methods of engagement. Representation is included in our text-to-speech or our dictation accommodation, offering multiple response options, such as the ability to handwrite, to type, to dictate. We do provide students with multiple methods of expression. But personalized feedback, customizable learning experiences, the ability for teachers to individually assign assignments, and our student insights, those are all methods to provide multiple means of engagement. So what I want to do right now is I want us to walk through these options together inside of Class Companion. So this is our We Do section. Okay, so feel free if you'd like to open up your own additional screen here, and you can do this with me, or you can definitely just watch at first. But we do have a We Do section that is what you can do with us. But let me share my screen really quickly. So just give me just a second. And there we go. All right. So one of the main things that we have done to make personalizing instruction and accommodating for diverse learners easier is we have what is called our individual learning plans. It sounds very similar to individual education plans or individualized education plans, and it could help you with those students. But what this is here is just an ability to meet all the needs of the learners. So what you do is you just head over into your class on Class Companion. You head over to your Students tab here. I do apologize. I have extra tabs open today. All right, so we are going to look at our Students tab here. And we could look from our dashboard as well, but we see each of our student names. And these are my students in the Power Up class. So you may see your name on here. Hopefully you do, because we like that. But you're going to go to the Students tab, and at the top of your screen, then you'll choose a student. So I'm actually going to choose me. This is my student email address. And so we'll see analytics and we'll see learning plan. Okay. Now, before we get into the learning plan, I want you to notice these analytics that we've looked at these before, but this can really help you to see the most common feedback. You can adjust and differentiate your lessons accordingly. And so I want to kind of share why student insights fit into this UDL. You see, students can also see this information on their side. And what you see here is if maybe a student is asking for help a lot, right? We can see 0%. Brittany has not asked for help at all. And she's got an 89, so that's okay. But what we might see is she hasn't disputed anything. She hasn't asked for help. What if this median score here, I shouldn't say grade, median score here was lower? What might that tell us? Feel free to put it in the chat. What might that tell us about her? She hasn't asked for help. She has not disputed. Her median score is lower than an 89. Maybe it's a 50. What might this tell us? Dana said, the student is shy or doesn't know what to ask. Yeah. So if a student, he said, she is wonderful in every possible way. I like that response. Ruby said, the student has a hard time understanding the material or doesn't want to ask for help. Shannon says they don't know how to apply the feedback. That's a good one too. Stacy said, might be too embarrassed to ask. So these type of things, they might fit into our one-on-one conferences. Maybe we're like, hey, how can we get this student to a place where they do feel comfortable? I mean, think about it. You're not asking in front of a group. You can have these conversations, these more authentic conversations with your students, right? And so this kind of takes this a little bit deeper into a layer of UDL, right? that you can truly meet the student's needs and find out what their feedback style is, find out what is holding them back, which is something that we often don't get the chance to do, right? We don't often get that chance. And so if a student maybe is asking for help a lot, you might see that it's necessary to maybe reteach a concept. Maybe that student needs a different assignment, right? Maybe they're not sure. And so in this case, you can actually individually assign lessons inside of your dashboard as well. And so teachers that we work with, they rave about how they can use this feedback here to have those better one-on-one conferences. And they can actually pull that feedback. So down here below, you can actually see the most common feedback once you have enough submissions. This isn't a very good example for this, but you would have the most common feedback here to then talk about what is the AI saying. And then you can have that conversation. Again, your students can see this. So for those of you who maybe are teaching students that have higher level thinking skills, or perhaps you want to incorporate this into your classroom so that your students are having better self-reflection, this is good conversation. I would love to give you guys the time to share how might you use these insights either in conversations with students or otherwise. So feel free to share that in the chat as well. So how might you use these insights? Obviously, you can't see the most common feedback in this specific instance because there weren't enough submissions, but how might you use this? You can also see it, you trying again. How often they're disputing. How much you use this in your classroom, these student insights. I missed this one earlier. Jessica said she is not super engaged with what is going on and she's willing to just scrape by. Yeah. Ruby says that she can see one-on-one so that she could help more students. Yeah. Dana said you can see how persistent they are. Yeah, very, very good. For sure. Any other ways that you guys could see that you might use these insights? And if you can't think of anything right now, we'll come back to this. I would love for you guys to just share, hey, by the way, I thought, of a way that I can use my insights. Because this is a really big piece of how we can meet all the needs of the learners in our classroom. Jessica said that she likes knowing how often students ask for help. There are times that she personally forgets who asks for help and who doesn't. Yeah, for sure. Trisha gave a good one. Good data for parent conference. Absolutely. Absolutely. What if, and I just came up with this off the top of my head, what if your students presented this as part of their parent conference? What if the student came and it became a little bit more like that, where the student provided this information because they can see it on their end too. Stacy said trends. If there's a particular assignment that gets more or less disputes, helps ask. Yeah, because if you have a lot of students who have disputed a score on an assignment, it might be the assignment, right? Might be the assignment. Yi said sometimes it could be too easy content with the current grade level, right? So we might need to assign an individual assignment. Dana said, are they willing to stand up for themselves by disputing a grade? And that might be something that you have like a little mini lesson on where you're noticing nobody's disputing their grades. Hey, did you know that you can dispute grades in Class Companion? If you think that you've got your answer right, and chances are they might have enough of the content understood in order for you to give them a partial credit or all credit, right? And so Ruby has a question. How fast are these insights, though, especially with a class of 35? And you asked Avery specifically, so I'm going to let Avery handle that in the comments. But this is just one section that we can look at. The other area, like I was talking about before, is our learning plan. So up here, we've got analytics. And on the next tab, we've got learning plan. And so if you are one of those friends who this is a growing feature. We just added so many new options available here. So if you've used Class Companion in the past, but you only saw maybe the first option, we have added several more in the last month, okay? The first option you will see is the ability to change the reading level. So you can adjust excerpts to a specific reading level. If nothing is selected, the student's going to see that original excerpt, but excerpts that are already at or below that reading level, those will not be adjusted. This might be good for your students who have an IEP, or maybe they're maybe they need reading on a lower level in order to show progress over time. Maybe you're a special education teacher or an intervention teacher. This would be a really great opportunity to kind of watch that progress over time, right? And still be able to provide students with the same material as their peers, but just a lower level. This would probably be better for your social studies classes, your science classes, other types of classes, but it could also be used for reading comprehension if you're watching to see over time how that student is progressing with a new reading level. Okay, so you can actually see an example here. So I'm going to click into this so you guys can see it. This is a grade 4 reading level modification. So we, the people of the United States, in order to form a perfect union, like what kid's going to understand that if they're reading at a 4th grade level? The answer is probably none. But it changes that. It says, we, the people of the United States, aim to create a better and more united country. Now I get it. Now I understand what this means, right? So we want to make sure that there's fairness, there's peace within our borders. So what it does is it changes that excerpt to a reading level that is more appropriate. And you can actually change this to any reading level here. So if I changed it to 1st grade, I can also see an example here too. So we, the people who live in the United States, want to make a really good team. See how that changes just slightly for those students? The other option that we have here is, I'm not going to read the comments just yet. The other option that we have here is translation. So this lets students translate feedback into a different language while completing an assignment. All right. And so this could be any language that you can think of, pretty much any language. And I'll show you what this looks like from the student side in just a few minutes. Okay. But we have translation here, and then we have narration. So this is our text to speech feature, where you can have the feedback read aloud to them. So this is great for those students with oral accommodations, right? We have oral administration. That is great for here. But it doesn't necessarily have to just be for those students, right? If you think your students would better be able to participate and engage when they're able to hear it, then you could also easily flip this on for any of your students. And the last one is dictation. So this is our speech to text feature. So this lets students dictate their response where they can actually speak it while completing an assignment. Okay. And really quickly, another accommodation, this isn't included in the learning plan, is the ability to offer additional deadline extensions or individually assigned assignments. So before I show you these in action, I just want to show you what this looks like. Okay. And you can do this too while we're kind of here, but I'm going to go over to my assignments tab, and I can choose any assignment, right? I can choose any assignment. And I'm going to go to actions here on the right-hand side of this assignment, or I can click into the assignment itself, but I'm just going to go to edit assignment. And right here, it says I can publish it, but I'm not really ready to publish. So I'm going to go publish assignment, continue. And what you'll notice here is any of the students in my class, which may or may not be you, right? Maybe I just want to do this assignment for Sarah. I can unselect all of my students and only make this for Sarah. Maybe Sarah needs something a little bit more intense, more rigorous, right? So we can add this for her. In that case, we can do also, if it's for all students, but Sarah needs an accommodation for extended time, that is done in the publish flow. Okay, so we can just add an accommodation here. And maybe our due date is Wednesday, August the 7th. For Sarah, maybe it's August the 9th. So we can actually change her due date here, and she can have an individual due date. So that gives her an extended time to complete that. So very simple process here, and it is in your publish workflow. So those are the two places that you can find those types of things. And so what I would like for you guys to do, and I'm going to stop really quick and check for any comments that I missed. Avery did answer Ruby's question. She said the insights appear after the student has several submissions, and it takes about 15 to 30 seconds to load. Trisha said, is there a way to change the reading level for the entire class as opposed to individual students? And Trisha answered that here. When you create a class, you set the grade level, which determines that reading level. So you can change this by clicking on settings at the top. So Shannon asked, is it possible to change the reading level of the feedback that students are receiving? And Avery answered, you can adjust this by setting the class grade level and customizing the rubric. And so I actually have a TikTok video that shows you how you can do that, how you can change that in your rubric as well. Awesome. Okay. So hopefully that is helpful here. So we checked out all of this. So what I want to do now is we are actually going to go to the student side. And so probably the easiest way to do this is you can access your student account, or you can just watch and observe me. Okay. You can do this later afterwards with there's going to be directions inside of your homework, inside of your action step that you're going to get in just a little bit. Okay. But what I recommend for this, if you're going to do this with me, is opening up an incognito window for your student account. Okay. And then a separate window for your teacher account. That way you can kind of go back and forth. And that's similar to how I'm doing it today. If you participated in last week's session, you should already be in the Power Up class. And so what I did was I went ahead and I just gave everybody access to all of these accommodations. And so I've already adjusted this to your student account. That way you can interact with assignments that way. If you have not, you can still join the class. And I'm going to put this here. That way you guys can see it if you are not already in the class. But you can join the class, and I can do this really quickly. Just put your information in the comments. That way I know to give you accommodations. It's a little bit difficult, but you don't want to use your teacher account. All you have to do is just add plus student. So I'm going to actually show you from my perspective. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and show you my incognito window really quickly. That way you can see what this looks like. Hopefully. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see my incognito window. With your student account, what I recommend is just adding a plus student. So typically my email address is brittany@classcompanion.com. But for my student account, it's Brittany plus student at classcompanion.com. So I can log in here. And again, feel free to just watch me. If it's just too much, you're like, Brittany, that was a lot. I gave you like step-by-step instructions in your homework, so you can do this afterwards. Just watch me, okay? And I'm actually going to go to my Power Up Your Pedagogy class. You guys should be in there too. And I'm going to go to any assignment. And now that I have my accommodations, they're going to show up in my feedback here, okay? And right now, it does not show on the full rubric side. We're working on that, so you should see that very shortly, okay? No worries. but you will see that here. And so what I can do is I can say, you're on the right track thinking about evaporation. I want to hear this. So this is my my ability to hear it.
You're on the right track thinking about evaporation. Try to describe what happens during this stage and how it starts the water cycle. Remember, you have 2 attempts to answer the question. You're on the...
So hopefully you guys could hear that. It is slightly robotic, but it's giving the student the ability to hear that feedback. Okay, so I'm on the right track. All right. But perhaps you have a multi-language learner or your English as a second language learner. I don't know which one we're calling it these days. But this is your transcription option. And so when I originally created this in here, it's going to give you the option for your language. I changed it to, I think this is Danish, because I'd never seen Danish before. So I was like, I want to see Danish. And so once you have that in your account, it's just always going to show it to you translated into Danish. So that will be there for you as well. Let me check the comments really quick. Okay, we're good. We are good. All right. So you can see those here. And then the other option we have is this speech to text option. So you can see these, it's already built into the same types of user experience that the students already have, just little icons, right? So what's the second stage of the water cycle? I can hit this button here and I'll just allow it. And of course I talked, so it's gonna hear that. So I might say, I'm not sure what the second stage of the water cycle is. Can you help me? I'm gonna click that to stop. And then I'm gonna send. And again, remember, you can ask for help. So you're getting that, that individual. Think about what happens to the water after it's turned to a gas in the sky. It starts to gather and form something. What is that process called? So again, I can hit that, or I might hit.
Think about what happens to the water after it has turned into gas in the sky. It starts to gather and form something. What is that process called? Think about what happened.
So I can change it again.
Think about what.
So it can read it aloud. It's not going to read it aloud in Danish though, right? And so then that's how the student can interact. So if you offer these to those specific students, then yeah. Okay, I'm just checking the comments here. Will it translate to language as well? No, it does not. It does not. It does not provide that there. Dana said, I went to diversity of religious beliefs, but did not see any accommodations, such as having it read to me. Dana, are you talking about a class, a separate class from the Power Up class? Dana, if you are in the Power Up class as a student, then I can add you with accommodations, but at that level, the teacher has to allow those accommodations. So hopefully that's helpful. Yee, can we embed YouTube videos on our questions? That is a really great question. And that is something that we're currently working on inside. So what I would like, I'm going to have to switch. Dana said, I'm in Power Up. So let me switch screens now that I've showed you guys that part. Let me stop sharing. And then on my side, I can go to share screen. And I'm back over into my teacher account. So what we'd like to be able to do for YouTube videos is we'd like to offer them as excerpts. And that's something that I just brought to the developer team today, is like generating an assignment from a YouTube video or putting an excerpt as a YouTube video and just being able to do that. So currently, there's not the option to embed that quite yet that I'm aware of. We can check really quickly. Let's look together, shall we? When in doubt, let's look together. So I can go to questions, not currently. So we've got add image and we've got add excerpt here. So we can't add a YouTube embed or anything like that. So that's not available just yet. But again, like I mentioned, we were talking about that this morning with the development team. Ruby asked, in the translations, are there written ones for students who read instead of hearing? So it does not translate audibly for students who are getting it translated. So if it's translated, it's just in text currently. Okay, so what I would love for you guys to do right now is I'm going to give about, we're at 2:41. So I definitely want to give you time to play around in that. I'm going a little bit slower than I had anticipated. So hopefully you guys were able to do that with me. If not, feel free to do that afterwards. If you were in the Power Up class, I'm going to look really quickly for Dana's name in the Power Up class to make sure. There is a search feature here. So I'm going to look for Dana and then look at her learning plan. And she should have access to these inside of the Power Up class, any of the assignments in the Power Up class. If it's another class and it's one that you own, as a teacher, you'll just need to create that individual learning plan for that student in your class, if that makes sense. Okay. So what I'd like to do now is I am going to provide you guys with the homework, and I want us to be able to look at it together. So the homework today is bit.ly/powerupsession3HW. bit.ly/powerupsession3, the number 3, HW. And it should pop up a page that looks like this. And so a lot of the things that we talked about today and did today are things that I went over are action steps in our checklist. So if you were able to do these with us, yay! If not, and you're like, that was a lot, it's stepped out for you here. Okay, so I want you guys to have the ability to try all of these things out, watch me and then do it, or do it with me. Okay, so your action step checklist does include either inviting yourself as a student to your class, or if you're live, just kind of joining that class as your student account. If you joined your student account and I did not give you access to accommodations and you want to see those from the Power Up class, put it in the comments. All you got to do is just tell me in the comments, put your name, and I'll make sure that I add those for you. Okay. All right. So, like I mentioned, I have the incognito tab here. In your teacher account, what I'd like for you guys to do is to be able to review the individual learning plan section. So finding a student, choosing a specific student. If you don't have any students yet, invite yourself, okay? Invite yourself into your class. That's why I suggest that, so you could do that. So then you have two sides open, your student side and your teacher side. And while that's a little bit confusing, it's stepped out here for you. And then I want you to create some accommodations for that student or for yourself inside of your class. And then experience those for yourself. I also suggest practicing creating an individual assignment. So I showed you how to do that earlier, but then I step it out here for you. creating an assignment with an extended deadline for one or more of your students. And then lastly, what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to come up with a plan to use and create these individual learning documentation, and then be able to plan how you're going to use these student insights, how you're going to evolve your students' experience over time. And so what I did here was I created a document, a sheet, if you will, to help you with this process. And I feel like I'm going a little bit quick, so I'm going to pause for just a second. Make sure there's no questions. Let me show you what that documentation looks like. And I'm checking the comments here because I know I'm going a little bit quickly here. See, 2 of you can already access. So we have a teacher ILP documentation form. This is just a really simple sheet here that you can, if you have multiple class periods, maybe you add your students' names. Do they have any specific learning needs? Do they have a specific reading level? Okay. Do they need translation, narration, dictation? Do they need extended time? Do they need different types of assignments? You can kind of have a way of documenting that here. Down at the bottom, you'll also see I created a one-on-one conference template. Now, what I recommend for this part, so you can see that tab down here, is you can actually right-click this and duplicate it for each individual student, okay? Or you can just print it off. However this works for you. This is just something to kind of work off of, okay? So what you might look at, so the previous median score, the previous tried again, and then what it is now. So you're able to see over time what this might look like. Also gives you the ability to monitor and adjust. So you're documenting observations, different adjustments that might be needed. Maybe you try out for a certain amount of time. Maybe you're trying out a 4th grade level for an 8th grade student. And then the next month you see progress. So you're like, let's pop this up to 5th grade level. See how the student does then. Okay. And maybe the student needs different assignments. Maybe you're noticing the student's asking for a lot of help. Okay. And then there's a section for you to do student feedback. So what is the student saying? And then your overall reflection. So this just kind of gives you something to work off of for those one-on-one conferences. Okay. It's not meant to be something that is like super long. One-on-one conferences shouldn't last more than 5 minutes a piece. They certainly can, but typically what we like to see is something that is something that gives you the opportunity to do really quickly. Jessica said she's glad to see it in action first, and then she can kind of go over it later. Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm one of those, let me see it first, and then let me dip my toes in. Yeah. So these are just recommended. You do not have to use these. This is just something that I came up with that I was like, this might be a really helpful way. Okay. But then there's also some questions down here at the bottom of your homework. You will see how do you typically meet the needs of the students with accommodations? Could you choose to have any of the accommodations for all of your students? Would it hurt? If there's an accommodation that you wish you could offer but currently can't, we would love to hear your requests. Okay, we would love to hear that. So really quickly, I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes to look over this, and I would love for you guys just to look over this and then ask any questions. We're just going to do a Q&A time right now. You can work on this at the same time, but just 5 minutes here. So I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. I'm going to be manning the chat with Avery and just give you guys some time just to kind of look over this. Okay. I'm going to stop demonstrating for just a few. Tanya said, my school does one-to-one student parent teacher conferences in October, and this could be really useful to show some specific change or Lack of, love that. Yeah. And any student without having to talk grades specifically. Yes. Yes. That is the goal here, right? That is the goal. Yi also asked, and I think Dana answered it for her, or it says, where's the one-on-one template? It's at the bottom. And so if you're making a copy, I'm just going to kind of go over this. You probably already know this, but file up here at the top, make your own copy. And so if you have multiple, so for the ILP documentation, if you have multiple class periods, you'll just make additional sections here. You can also copy these into a separate sheet if that's more helpful, or print these out. Whatever works best for you. Okay, this is just meant to be something for you to go off of. Got about 3 more minutes for you guys just to kind of observe and ask any questions. And then, of course, we will move on, tie this up, and then do a giveaway. Got about, is there a way to make text bigger for a student who has an accommodation for the need for large text? Ruby, not yet. Not yet, but we can definitely send that over to the development team to create this. Like I mentioned before, like if you have requests, we love them. We love them. So if there's something you need for students, or if you think of an accommodation that maybe we don't currently offer, this would be another one for representation, right? For multiple means of representation. So this would be another good one here. Love that, Ruby. So we'll send that over to our development team also. Tanya says that's a great idea. Yes, because we do have those students who need a larger font, right? The other one, and Tanya, I like this one. Oh, Avery just mentioned a way that you can do like an accessibility setting on laptops to increase text font. So that's another way of doing that. Yes. Tanya mentioned, is the font used for Class Companion one of the dyslexia-friendly fonts? Truthfully, let me look at it really quick. I don't know. That's a really great point, though, Tanya. And so, again, we can look into that, kind of adjust. So if it's not, maybe that's another accommodation that we can look into as well. Trisha says, also thinking about SBAC accommodations, like highlighting text. That is a feature that we have talked about in the past, and it is definitely on our developers' radar. Ooh, good point. Avery said she believes that we are. So we do meet the requirements for contrast, font, color blindness, and dictation. So that's good to know. This is why we have 2 separate people here. All right, so time is up for our time to kind of play around and look around. Again, any questions that you guys might have, feel free to put them in the chat. And if it's after this session, you can always email and ask questions, or go to Another really great place, and we would love for you to ask your questions, is in our Facebook community, where you can also find the replay to this. Selfless plug. So that is a really good idea, Trisha. All right, so now that we've kind of taken a look here, I apologize. We are going to go back to the slideshow. So we did our we did our Q&A. So just to tie it all back together, we were talking about universal design for learning. Class Companion is a tool to help you meet all of the needs of the learners in your class. It gives you the most in the area of multiple methods for engagement, but representation is included in our text-to-speech or our dictation accommodation. We also offer multiple response options, so you can handwrite, you can type, you can dictate if we allow for that, right? So we're providing multiple methods of expression, not all of them, but multiple, personalized feedback, customizable learning experiences. We also give the ability for teachers to individually assign assignments, and those student insights, those are all methods for engagement as well. Coming up, we do have our last session on supercharging your back to school prep. So we're going to get you prepped and ready to go with Class Companion for your new school year. If you have not already done so, head over to your dashboard and add session 4 to your calendar. If you were unable to make it live to any session, do want to remind you, being here is obviously the best. I know a lot of teachers are back in the classroom, so you can also receive the replays as well. And once you have completed your action steps in the Google Doc, head over to the PD certificate form located in your Power Up dashboard, and you can submit your action step there. You will get that PD certificate there. All right, so I did. It's 2:57, so we got 3 more minutes left. What I would love to do is do 2 giveaways today, maybe more. What I would love to do is ask a really simple question. The other day I did, Jessica said she's watching while working in her classroom. Yes. Yay, Jessica. Okay. Here we go. Here is the question. This is for those people who just really listened really good. First person to answer it gets a prize. What subject/grade level did I teach first? What did I originally start teaching in? What did I say? First person to get it. Kindergarten, Tanya Roth. Yay! Yay! Tanya Roth. Ye was second place. So Tanya, you're going to get an Amazon gift card to hopefully help clear your list off. So Tanya is going to get an Amazon gift card. Yay! All right. Oh, did Ruby? Oh, Tanya, thank you. You're such a good sport. Yes, it was Ruby. Awesome, Ruby. Sorry. Thank you. I just saw K and I didn't even think kindergarten. Awesome. Yes, Ruby. Okay. So congrats to Ruby. Tanya, you are such a good sport. I am way too competitive for something like that. All right. So Ruby, I will be sending you an Amazon gift card to hopefully clear your Amazon wish list a little bit. Great. And second question, because I can't think of one right now. The other day I asked what was our mascot or our icon's name. His name is Ditto. Okay. So I'm just going to ask questions about myself because you guys were very responsive to the other stuff that we were doing today. Okay. Last question. Ooh, but I didn't share that with you guys. Okay. I was going to ask you about Avery's first name, but you guys don't know that because I didn't share that. Ruby said, is a Ditto plushie in the works? You know what? That is a really good question. I like that idea. So we'll look into that for sure. I love that. Okay, sorry. Back to the question. How many years have I been teaching? I'll come up with better questions on Friday, guys. Ruby, I'm also going to send you a t-shirt as well. She said she loves the swag. Yes, we love swag. How many years have I been teaching? And this is kind of a trick question. And if you don't know, I mean, just totally. Ruby said 16. No, it's a little bit down. Jessica said, I honestly don't remember. Shannon. Okay, we're going to go. We're actually going to we're going to do two things here. Dana, I'm going to send you some swag because partially your answer was correct. In the classroom experience, I have 12 years of classroom experience. In education in all, I have 14 years. So Shannon is our second winner, and then Dana is just an extra because she was the first one who said 12. So good guesses, everybody. 7, 12, 8, 9. Yeah, lots of different answers. Shannon, you're our winner. Dana is she's our extra winner here. Okay. So thank you guys again for hanging out with us. I love the energy. I love the vibes. Feel free again to join us in the Facebook community with any additional questions after this. If you have additional questions, we love to hear your feedback again. So love it. Love it. Hope to see you guys on Thursday for our last and final session.